Welcome to our BioTrack THC Instructional Video Series. This is BioTrack, an overview and walkthrough. Hey guys, let's do a basic walkthrough of BioTrack. So the first thing I'm going to show you guys is there are two different versions of BioTrack. There is this multi-instance and this regular BioTrack. What's awesome about the multi-instance is that means it's multiple instances of BioTrack. You can have 2 or 3 different versions of BioTrack open to different locations, to different rooms, whatever you need to make your workflow work for you. So that's the first cool thing about BioTrack, this multi-instance version versus this regular version. And then let me show you as soon as I launch BioTrack. It does take a little bit to come up. Okay, now we're loading. And what I want to show you is this initial screen, this login screen. So obviously your username and your password would go here, but let's talk a little bit about these other fields. So mode is set, preset usually to live. There's also a training mode. So I'm going to show you guys training mode. We want to be in training mode and we want to be on the training server. Database, this is where BioTrack will help you get set up with your specific dispensary's database. Usually for remote access or off-site access locations, there will be 2 databases. In this case, we have an off-site database and a default. The default database would be used primarily for the cash registers on a retail location or the computers in a production facility that are not portable, that would not be moving anywhere. They would directly key in through that internet directly to the server. Shared databases checked because I am sharing the database with other people. I'm going to show you real quick what the screens look like for getting your initial setup done. Normally, you would click Shared Database and you would do New. You would put all of your host and port information in. Usually, they have to download and install certificates. So I do recommend working with BioTrack directly to get you set up. In this case, I'm going to go ahead and log in, and I'm going to use the training location to show you guys a little bit better all of the different features and functions of BioTrack, since this will not impact the location that I'm currently set up for. So BioTrack, when it launches, reminds me that I'm in training mode, which is good. And we're starting out on our Growhouse tab. So before we go too far ahead, let me talk a little bit about BioTrack and this initial screen that we came up with. So at the top, the very top of your screen here, you will see BioTrack and a number. This is the version of BioTrack you're running. After that, you should see the location name, the dispensary name, the production facility name, whatever that's called. In this case, it shows training after that to remind me again I am in training mode. Then you will see the terminal information, what the terminal is called, the username, and again, because we are in training mode, it's a little bit of overkill, but it keeps telling me I'm in training mode. Then we've got what I call the top menu, which is drop-down menu that pertains to BioTrack. Pretty much these different menu options will change depending on your settings and your accessibility. Because I am an administrator, I have access to the administrator menu. So the file menu is very basic. It's just that your grow house is everything that pertains to your grow house, as inventory is everything that pertains to your inventory. Sales tends to be for things that pertain to retail. Options has all of our options in here. Our compliance, Marketing, again, this is specifically for marketing and connecting it up with various other platforms. The administration menu is very important, but not everybody has access to it. So I'm going to do a detailed video talking through specifically the different options in the administration menu. We've got theme, which just basically decides how your screen looks, and then your help menu, which I haven't found to be that helpful just because every state runs things a little different. You've got layers of company policies and procedures, state policies and procedures, as well as how the software actually works. So after we've talked about this top menu, we've got this main tabs. Sometimes I'll call them the top tabs or main tabs. So right now we're in Growhouse, which is why the screen looks like that. When I toggle the different tabs, the rest of this screen, everything down from this top menu will change. In this case, harvest, transfer clone, harvest and cure, location transfer, reassign additives. This all very much pertains to the grow. Your shortcuts will also change depending on which tab you're on. Again, these pertain specifically to the grow. So you can create a new plant, create strains, batches, search, containers, plant audit, and main stem. Main stem is just a shopping link platform, and your shortcuts will look a little different in the regular mode versus training mode. The location that I am currently working for doesn't have a grow, and I wanted to show you the full range of tabs. So up here is the room button. This room button allows you to back out and to be either in the main screen. If you're like in this greenhouse moms, if you hit rooms, it takes you back to the main area. Now, your grow house room or your grow house tab may or may not look like this. That is because depending on the visual settings, it actually might look slightly different. If you go under Grow House and click View Mode, you are currently in List View. Would you like to switch to Graphical? Yes. This is the other way that your rooms in your Grow House might look. Now, if I wanted to go into any of the rooms, I'd do the same thing I did before. If I highlight over them, I can see the different rooms, and I just double click, and that takes me right into the room. This is where all my plants would be. If I click on rooms, it takes me back out. You can see there's a zoom in and a zoom out button, whatever the case may be. And then we've got a big refresh button. So that helps us relook at things. You've got this handy stat bar. I'm going to move my picture a little bit so you guys can see the handy stats bar that gives you the information about the total plants you have, what different stage they're at. You've also got information about the strains that you have in the system and the rate, the time that they've been in the system. Now, as you can see in this mode, I don't have access to all of those little buttons until I change my screen. And then if I change it to graphical mode or change it to list view from graphical mode, we get back here, and then I have all of these handy little buttons down here. So this is sort of the Grow House tab. The next tab I'm going to show you, we're going to go right in order, is the Inventory tab. So when I click on that, you'll notice I have smaller tabs beneath that, but this is the main inventory tab view of what things look like. Each of these tabs will change your shortcuts, what you're seeing here, and all of your buttons. Currently here, what I am looking at is I am looking at this specific bulk inventory room. If you want to change the room of inventory that you are looking at, you just click on the arrow, and this is a drop down, and you can make as many rooms as you want to help contain and handle and organize your product. The Move Items button is self-explanatory. This with the two arrows is, again, the refresh button. If you highlight over it, it will tell you refreshes current inventory. Now we've got two different tabs here, Product View and Item View. Because there's nothing in here, it is hard to see what exactly the difference. Product view basically gives you a better snapshot of a full room and varies the different batches by the products. So, for example, if you had 20 different batches, all of the same flavor of gummy, if you look on the products view tab, you would just see the one thing of gummies and then the total quantity. And if you double clicked on it, then you would see the batches. Um, if, however, you clicked on item view, you would see all of the batches of that specific product listed, the product name, the batch number, the strain for each specific one, and this also gives you the potency information. Usually, I like to look at things in product view because it gives me a better way of looking at the entire inventory and not getting bogged down by multiple batches of the same product. Now, down below this screen, we've got previous and next. Those relate to page sizes. Page size is a very important thing to keep in mind. I usually, when I initially enter BioTrack, switch this from 25 to 500 so I can see everything in the room or close to it. Um, that way you're not thinking that you selected everything and not, or thinking that there's only 5 items or that there's only 25 items in a room when there's really like 32. Now the buttons down here, again, pertain just to inventory. We've got details, so you could look at the details of an item. You've got the adjust, you've got your print barcode versus print label. I will talk about the differences of those in a later video. Your handy sublot batch button. This select page selects every item that you can see on the page, and since my page is 500 items, it could select up to 500 items if I had that many in the room. Now, if I was on item view, this, you'll notice when I click on that, changed back to 25 because you need to change the page size on both. The same can be said about using the filter. If I use the filter over here and say I want to look at gummies, when I go back to product view, there is no filter. So just keep in mind, if you're not seeing what you expect to see in the inventory, the first thing I would do is check if there's a filter going on and check what the page size is. Next and previous toggles between the different pages. To get rid of what you're filtering, you simply delete this and then it will go back to showing you everything. These shortcuts, just like with the Growhouse, pertain predominantly to inventory. So this new inventory is basically in a track and trace state, how you create new paraphernalia and new non-cannabis products in your system. If we are in a track and trace state, you have a limited window where you can create inventory, create all the plants and the strains, and get that set up for your grow. If you are a retail location, you do not get to create inventory, you can only receive it. So here's your transfer inventory because that is also a very handy thing. These are also in your menus, but it is a lot of times easier to just come to the shortcuts. Products where you create your product templates, tax categories, price points, inventory audit, all of these buttons are things that you might want to have quick access to. Laboratories or QA is where you set up who is your QA service. For a grow or a production facility, that is pretty important, and check out one of my other videos on that. Switch locations. This is how you switch from your retail store to your grow or your production facility at one location to another production facility. You would just click on this button and pick the facility. As long as you have access to it, and it's within your company, it is not a problem. Because this is an overview video, let me keep showing you the small tabs beneath inventory. Dispensed shows you all the product that was dispensed if you have a retail store. So it is sold product. Sales is the same thing. Sales is going to be sold product. This is your ticket view and this is your payment view. So you can look at the specific products that a customer bought on the ticket, or you can just look at how much they spent on the ticket and what their payment method was. Um, you can change these dates to reflect anything, and then if you click refresh, that should show you that data. Again, you can use these to filter for all users or just a specific user if you're looking for a specific payment or a transaction. Again, you can use this to filter for your terminal. This is helpful if you need to refund, and this is in fact the screen that you would come into to do a refund, or if you needed to modify. The transfer tab is any product that has been transferred into or out of your facility within this specific date range. You'll see that there is no information here because this is training mode. Accounts would be if you had any accounts set up, and paid outs, the same thing if you had any paid outs. The next tab on training mode is reports. Depending on how much access you have in the system will depend on how many reports you can see here. When you click the drop down, you get all of these different areas depending on what you have access to. So you can pick whichever report that you want, and then you will see on the left-hand side, there are ways for you to filter that, whether it's a date range, whatever drop down, whatever various fields they let you have is what you can filter it by. Again, I will spend more time on reports in detail and showing helpful reports. The next tab is time clock. This is exactly what you think it is. It is the way to track your employees' time. Simple, you just clock in, clock out, and they do have to be given access to this tab to be able to use this function. Time manager is part of the things the manager or the administrator can set up as needed. Messages is how you send messages to bud tenders or somebody. So this is actually really handy if you are in the grow at one processing station and you need to relay a message to somebody else who's in the grow at a different processing session. So you would just click new, put the subject, pick your contact, and go ahead and send it, and it works very much like an instant messenger. So this was a brief overview of BioTrack and training mode. I am going to now sign out. So we'll click log off, and I will show you how to go back into regular mode in case you are trying the training mode and accidentally got stuck on that. So as we know, BioTrack does take time to log off and to open and close. So just keep that in mind. Okay, so we're going to make sure this is on live mode, and we're going to make sure the server is our actual BioTrack server. Now I'm putting in my name and password. And you will see that these screens look very similar, just some of the tabs are missing. And you will see that depending on the access that different employees have or the location as far as what the location does. A grow is obviously going to have different tabs and different information than a manufacturing facility, than a retail facility, and any of that. So you can see I do not have a Growhouse tab, but I do still have the Growhouse menu. I have my inventory menu, my sales, my options, compliance, marketing. I have this additional banking one. Administration is still there, theme, and help. My top tabs, you'll see I have inventory, customers, reports, time clock, and messages. So when you click the customer tab, this is the screen that you would use for retail. So looking at this customer tab, we've got the customer that we can enter here or will populate here when we've entered them. You've got your print, you've got your lookup, and then you've got a handful of icons here. If you just hover over it a little bit, it shows you exactly what the icon is for. So this removes an item. This one removes all items. This allows you to edit an item. This is for discounting an item, saving an item for later. So this moves the customer from this top part down to this check-in screen. The heart applies loyalty points, and the dollar sign is pay. So once you've rung up every product that the customer wants, you would click the dollar sign for pay. Our shortcuts over here also reflect the fact that we're in a retail store. So you've got create a new customer, how to look up a customer, create discounts for the retail store, close your cash out for the end of the day. And then down below here is where we have the products that we can select if we do not have a barcode scanner or if the product doesn't have a barcode. So for whatever reason, it doesn't have a full barcode that scans or we're having trouble scanning it, we can find it from here. You'd utilize the category. This lists literally every category that the store or the group of stores has. And then you would click on the category and then select the product from this screen. You can see there's nothing in this cannabis mix infused. But if I click on chocolate, I've got quite a number of options. Then you would click on the product and it would add it to your receipt. This window over here that I was hanging out in is your check-in. So if you have a check-in desk, you would get the customer, look them up, add them in, and then put them on hold into this check-in field. And then when the bud tender was ready to work with them, the bud tender could easily access them. This works really well for a lot of dispensaries that are retail outlets that have an entry door with somebody checking IDs. That person can go ahead and enter the customer if they're new or verify all the pertinent information, get them all set up so that then when the bud tender is available, the process is a little more streamlined. Going back to the middle, this shows you your subtotal, which includes excise tax. In a state like New Mexico, we have excise tax, we have sales tax. Excise tax is essentially the cannabis tax, which is about 12%. And then in addition to that, you have whatever local municipality tax you pay. That is separated out into this tax field. The total over here shows you the subtotal plus the tax. It can be a little confusing because they do tell you below here what the specific excise tax amount is, but that amount is included in this subtotal up here. The price shown up here also does include the excise tax, so just keep that in mind. It's really important to observe these buttons, medical sale and adult use. I always tell bud tenders that's the first thing you want to do. Thank you for watching our video, BioTrack an overview and walkthrough. Please check out our other videos in the series for more in-depth information.